Hello, hello, much blessings and love. And now I have very interesting message, very exciting message, very intimate message for myself and yes, all the rest of myself. And that is about the purpose of this physical life, of this bodily life, the actual spiritual significance of that. And I would love to start that message by quoting so-called Jesus from the Gospel of Thomas, that is also very resonant text for myself. It influenced me a lot, and for those who don't know, that text is not connected to religion. It is found separately quite recently in our history, and there are sayings of so-called Jesus written by his most close student. So I might be slightly paraphrasing that message, but it will be clear. So he said that if the spirit was the reason for the body, that is miracle. But if body was the reason for the spirit, it is even greater miracle. And I am astonished how these treasures were found in all of that, like misery or suffering in this worldly life. So, what it means if the spirit was the reason for the body simply means the physics on how consciousness works. So the spirit can also be named as consciousness or as infinity, as that infinite, true, eternal identity of ours, which can create out of its infinite potential those limited, temporary bodily experiences, just by modulating its own vibration, densifying its own light of consciousness, that spirit, yes, can project into those appearing limitations in this linear lifetime. So yeah, that is quite miraculous, because in this life, when we are connected to those five senses, to that physicality, that spirit seems so subtle that even we mistaken that it for non-existing thing. But actually, without that subtle energy of spirit, none of this can be experienced. In the same way, like without space, no solid objects like planets can exist. So, yes, the spirit is the cause of the body. But if the body was the reason for the spirit, here comes the purpose on why spirit chose to have this experience, even with all of those tribulations and sufferings that we face in this humanity. So, as I see it, it is to grow itself, to expand itself even deeper. Because when we are in our original natural state as that infinite eternal spirit, we are like blended with all that is, and yes, everything is perfect, everything is clear, everything is good. But if we don't take contrast for that, then we can barely tap into our true potential, what is really possible. So that's why Spirit creates limitations, imposes limitations on itself to challenge itself, to awaken itself in a deeper way, to open new doors, new possibilities, not only in this experience of physical life, but also in its own realm. Because with our experiences here, we are also expanding the awareness and power of our spirits in our eternal life. So yeah, and also this body is like a container that helps to generate our individual vibration, our willpower, our self-awareness. Yes, and it is also can be utilized in the more powerful ways, more unlimited ways when we live this physical life. So that's the treasures that we carry to the afterlife, is that resource of generated consciousness, that accumulated willpower, and also all the goodness, all the love and creativity and beauty that we share in this life. Yeah, that expands infinitely in our spirit realm. And then those dimensions are accessible to us. And through our generated will, we can access those dimensions. With enough generated will, we can even access the ultimate source, to become a source, to fully align with the source perspective and create new creation. So yeah, at the core of our individuation, paradoxically, we are that one unified source. But only through our individual will we can access that. So that's the significance of those limitations here. And I encourage to use those contrasts, those challenges that you meet in your everyday life to awaken yourself into your infinite consciousness. To use that contrast of limitations, of impermanence, to realize your true unshakable self. And yeah, you can also do that through your conscious spiritual practices, and yeah, like I mentioned, also through creativity and loving kindness that you act upon in this life. So then you are mirroring the source in a very unique way. And yes, and And that experience then impregnates the source for the new creations. And I share all of these ideas out of my own mystical experiences, and also referring to other similar experiences of others. And also I see that all of these things are supported also in various channeling sources, and also you can find those ideas in our own history of various mystical schools. In ancient Egypt, it was very much emphasized that this life is like preparation for the eternal one, to purify your soul. And that so-called the Book of the Dead, I think, is like a guideline for that. But it originally was called not the Book of Dead, but entering into the light. So it was about transcendence, how to uplift your spirit, uplift your soul into a greater levels of itself. And also Tibetans emphasized that a lot. So yeah, we were talking about bardos, those like, I don't know how to say in English, those various borders that you need to cross if you want to, again, access more of yourself in your afterlife. To become that truly independent, autonomous spirit, that godly identity that you are. And you can realize that identity even while you are experiencing yourself through this body, through this timeline. And in my experience, it is the greatest gift that we can give to ourselves, is to wake up while we are still in the dream, and then experience that dream in the most epic ways, to reveal our true impact on this world. And get that impact reflected upon ourselves and upon our spirits. And yes, the eternal now is the eternal life is also now, I want to say, but those things already blended before mentioning it. So yeah, it is only limitations of our mind can create that distinction, that this life is temporary and then we can enter into eternal one. But again, if you understand the nature of reality, you will see that it all happens in this eternal here and now. all of those relative beginnings and ends is generated in that dream of our eternal life. So yeah, we are already and always living eternal life. Eternal life is here and now. So feel it for a moment, breathe it in for a moment, that breath of infinity, and relax in it. And be refreshed, be awakened. And have a grand experience with this gift. Enjoy.